What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking to you about Black Shades, one of my favorite games of all time. This is a 2002 title, so it's super old, made by Wolfire Games for, I believe, the UDev game competition. These guys basically had no money and no time to build a game from scratch, and this is what they came up with. And even playing it in 2017, there's still a lot about it that I love. It's got a lot of charm, and also it's got a great core gameplay mechanic. However, this game was available originally on Windows, I believe, and it was then later ported to Mac, way back in the day when PowerPC was still a thing. Then, however, when Macs made the switch to Intel processors, the game was lost. So if you have a Mac, you can't play it anymore. You need to have a Windows partition. However, the game was then again ported to iOS with some janky controls, but overall, still a fun time waster. However, since I've looked for it again on the App Store, I've noticed that it isn't there anymore. I don't know if the recent updates in the phone have once again made Black Shades obsolete and unable to run on current operating systems, or if they just elected to take it down. If you go on the Wolfire Games website, you can still see a link to the App Store where it supposedly is. So I don't know if you guys know anything about that, but if you do, definitely leave a comment or let me know where I can download this game. Thankfully, I installed the game a long time ago when I first got my phone, so I still have it. And today I'm going to boot it up and show you a little bit of the iOS version of Black Shades. So let's get into it. Alright, so here we are at the main menu of the iOS version of Black Shades, and one of the first things you're going to notice is the soundtrack. They use these really grimy and gritty sounding lo-fi loops that definitely sound like they were from 2002. And one interesting thing about the game is these loops were put in the .ogg container format to save space. I'm guessing this was because computers were not very powerful in 2002, especially when it came to gaming and rendering graphics. The objective of Black Shades is to protect the guy in the white costume, you'll see him in a second, from the guys that run up and try to kill him. You get points for killing the assassins and lose points if you gun down random civilians. You can either shoot people as I did earlier, or when you're running, hold the fire button to do a melee takedown. While you do lose points for gunning down random civilians, sometimes it is fun to blow off steam and do it anyway. Also, I really love the gun sounds in this game. They did a good job of making them stand out from the din of the music and sound really aggressive. Alright, so now we're moving on to the next level of the game, where you use a pistol. I like this weapon because when you crouch, the iron sights are actually useful. Here you're going to see a knife-wielding enemy running across the street. These are some of the hardest to deal with because they don't pause. They just keep charging and eventually stab your character. Now, every couple levels you're going to have a zombie level. These are a little more challenging because you have to get a headshot with the zombies, or else, as you can see, they'll get back up. These levels are pretty easy with the shotgun, however you do have to watch out for friendly fire. And as you've probably noticed, the way the game works is each level involves a different weapon that you need to use to protect the VIP, I guess. And these are the hand grenades. As you can see, I'm just dicking around with them here because it's fun to blow people up. Now, the physics on the iOS version aren't as broken as the computer, where they would send people flying hundreds of feet. Now we're getting a slightly different soundtrack as we get to run around with the knife and stab enemies. This is fun to use. You basically just run around holding the fire button. Now, as you've probably seen me use, I'm using that time stop function to line up shots and or melee attacks. That's triggered by clicking the hourglass in the bottom left of the controls. Now, this weapon is the Magnum. Similar to the pistol, it just packs a lot more heat, and as you can see when I slow down time and hit people with it, aside from that nice report, you also see it sends people flying backwards. Now, one of the bugs, or I don't know, I guess this is due to the random nature of the game, sometimes you'll play a level and you'll never see any enemies, which I guess is good if you're trying to beat the game, but I don't really like. One thing that is cool about this game is the city is procedurally generated, and even though that doesn't really mean much when it comes to these blocky graphics, it still has a nice aesthetic to it. I especially like the post-processing they do, and the changes in night and day. I think it helps give a nice vibe to the game. Also, here we're using the sniper rifle, which is a little difficult to use because it's hard to aim, but once you can get some headshots with it, it's super satisfying because you can vaporize dudes' heads. This game is a great time capsule. It's a little snapshot into what indie gaming was like over a decade ago, so definitely buy it, get it however you can, and enjoy Black Shades. See you guys next time.